Once upon a time, in a sprawling meadow vibrant with life, there lived a grasshopper who loved nothing more than to sing and dance the long, sun-drenched days away. The sun would peek over the hills, and a grasshopper would be there, perched on a blade of grass, his fiddle tucked under his chin, playing the most joyful tunes you've ever heard. The flowers seemed to sway to his rhythm, and the bees buzzed in harmony. Life, for him, was one long, beautiful song. Nearby, a colony of ants was in constant motion. Among them was one particularly diligent ant named Archie. While the grasshopper filled the air with music, Archie and his fellow ants were busy. They marched in single file lines, each one carrying a crumb of bread, a grain of wheat, or a tiny seed much larger than themselves. Their destination was a complex network of tunnels and chambers they called home, their anthill. They were stocking up, preparing for something the grasshopper hadn't even thought about. One particularly warm afternoon, the grasshopper spotted Archie struggling with a large kernel of corn. He paused his song, hopped over, and chirped.
"Archie, my friend, why do you work so hard on such a glorious day? The sun is shining, the sky is blue. Come, rest a while. Let me play you a tune. We can dance and enjoy this perfect moment."
Archie paused, wiping a bead of sweat from his brow with one of his tiny legs. He looked at the grasshopper, his fiddle gleaming in the sun.
"Thank you for the offer, Grassy,"
he said, his voice a little breathless.
"but I can't. Summer won't last forever. We're gathering food for the winter. When the snow covers the ground and there's nothing to eat, our pantry will be full. We'll be safe and warm."
The grasshopper just laughed. It was a light, carefree sound that drifted on the breeze.
Winter? Why worry about winter now? It's so far away. Look around you, Archie. There's plenty of food everywhere. The world is our buffet. You ants worry far too much. You should learn to live in the moment, like me.
And with a flick of his leg, he struck up another lively jig on his fiddle, dancing away without a care in the world. Archie just shook his head, picked up his heavy kernel of corn, and continued his slow, steady march back to the anthill. Day after day, this same scene repeated itself. The grasshopper sang, danced, and played, while the ants toiled under the sun. Whenever he saw them, he'd mock them gently.
Hurry, hurry, busy little ants. The sun is setting and you've missed all the fun.
The ants, however, paid him no mind. They knew a truth the grasshopper was ignoring. Seasons change. The golden days of summer slowly began to fade. The leaves on the trees turned from a vibrant green to brilliant shades of orange, red, and yellow. A crisp chill began to creep into the morning air. Autumn had arrived. The grasshopper's songs became a little less frequent. The air was getting too cold for his liking, and finding food was becoming a little more difficult. The once abundant leaves and tender shoots were disappearing. Still, he managed, telling himself it was just a passing phase. But then, the last of the colorful leaves fell from the trees, leaving behind bare, skeletal branches. The sky turned a permanent shade of gray, and one morning the grasshopper woke up shivering, not from the cold air, but from the sight of delicate white flakes drifting down from the sky. Winter had finally come. The snow fell faster and thicker, blanketing the entire meadow in a deep, silent layer of white. The world that was once his vibrant playground was now a cold, barren wasteland. There was no food to be found. The blades of grass he used to feast on were buried deep beneath the snow. Shivering, hungry, and weak, the grasshopper stumbled through the snow, his fiddle now a heavy, useless burden. His joyful songs were replaced by the chattering of his own teeth. He remembered the ants. He remembered their warnings and their endless work. With his last bit of strength, he dragged himself to the anthill, a small mound now barely visible in the snow. He knocked weakly on the entrance. After a moment, a tiny door opened and a familiar face peered out. It was Archie. He looked warm and well-fed.
Archie!
The grasshopper whispered, his voice hoarse and faint.
I was so foolish. You were right. I'm so cold and hungry. I haven't eaten in days. Can you spare just a little food? A single crumb?
Archie looked at the pathetic, shivering figure before him. He could have turned him away. He could have said,
I told you so. You sang all summer while we worked, so now you can dance all winter.
but seeing the genuine regret and desperation in the grasshopper's eyes, Archie felt a pang of compassion. He remembered the beautiful music that had often made his long days of work feel a little lighter. He turned back inside and spoke with the Ant Queen and the rest of the colony. He told them of the grasshopper's plight. After a moment of discussion, Archie returned to the door.
Come in, Grassy.
He said, opening the door wider.
We will share our food with you. We have enough because we prepared.
The grasshopper stumbled inside. The warmth of the anthill was overwhelming. He saw the vast storerooms, filled to the ceiling with grains, seeds, and dried berries. The ants welcomed him, gave him food, and let him warm himself by their tiny hearth. As he ate, tears of gratitude streamed down his face. He had been saved not just by the ants' food, but by their kindness. The grasshopper spent a winter with the ants. In exchange for their generosity, he did what he did best. He played his fiddle, filling the underground chambers with music. His songs were no longer just about carefree fun. They were songs of gratitude, of lessons learned, and of the beauty of friendship. He brought cheer to the ants during the long, dark winter, and in turn, they taught him the value of hard work and foresight. When spring finally arrived, melting the snow and bringing the world back to life, the grasshopper was a changed creature. As he stepped back out into the sunshine, he didn't just start playing his fiddle, he joined the ants. He helped them gather food, carrying his own small share each day. He still played his music, of course, but now he understood that there is a time for work and a time for play. And he learned that the sweetest songs are the ones you sing after a day of honest work, surrounded by friends who have your back. And so the grasshopper learned a valuable lesson. It is wise to prepare today for the needs of tomorrow. A little planning and hard work can ensure you have comfort and safety when times get tough. It's a simple truth, but one that makes all the difference. Thank you so much for joining us for this story. If you enjoyed it and want to see more fables and tales brought to life, please hit that like button and consider subscribing to the channel. We love sharing these timeless lessons with all of you. See you next time.